Hi, Natasha. Oh, okay.
Sorry. Can you hear me?
I can now. Yeah.
I'm in a coffee shop, so I'm gonna be polite and keep myself on mute for a bit. But since no one's here, hi, pleasure to meet you.
Pleasure to meet you as well. And I don't know that too many will show up live. This will be recorded. A few people seem to be coming. Palene's bot has just come. So that's very nice. So I'll view the lobby. Looks like a few people are joining in, which is great. Natasha, you're still kind of muted there.
Oh, sorry. I said let's just hope it's actual live people and not all of the
bots.
Yes, it'll be me, you, and 8 bots.
It's the way the world is going these days, right?
I'm a real person.
Yay, real people.
We love it. We love it.
Hello, real people. Yes.
Hello.
I was in a meeting the other day and there was me and 3 bots from the same person, but that person wasn't there. It was quite interesting how they all fought each other during the meeting. So great. Well, thank you all for joining. Pretty rapid response team that we have here. We recognize that this came kind of quick. It's been in the works for some time. But the main purpose, initially I was going to just upload this information to download at your convenience. But the opportunity to do it live presented itself. So I kind of took it, if you don't mind. So just know we are recording this as well for posterity. So you'll be able to access on the Together platform to actually watch this again at your convenience as well. Okay. I want to respect everybody's time. I'll probably give one more minute here, but maybe just a few brief words of those that are here, a little bit about yourself and the company that you're representing. And then by that time, everybody will have filtered in and we can get going. Okay.
I can introduce myself. Sorry, I'm under the weather today. I had an allergy attack, so I don't normally sound like this. Doug knows. So I am putting forward my brand Poshy Drinks. So I am a category builder in the dissolvable strip space. So I'm on the advisory board for my manufacturer. My goal is to make dissolvable strips what gummies were 5 years ago. They were at 0 market share and now they're 31% market share. So I'm trying to develop a new category in the supplement delivery space, meaning sugar-free vegan dissolvable strips. And I am launching multiple brands, and I'm also here to support other brands launching in the space as well. So it becomes the new household name like gummies.
That's exciting, Joanna. And my voice doesn't sound like myself either. A bit strained as well, going on day 17 for this this fun little cold virus that takes no prisoners. And no, it's not COVID, and no, it's and you're not at any risk of contamination because this is a Zoom meeting. But other than that, I'm glad we're not in person because everybody I've talked to has this. So stay away, stay safe. But nice to see you, Joanna.
Yeah, nice to meet you.
Who wants to go next?
I can go. Hi, everyone. My name's Natasha. I live in South Florida. I'm from the Caribbean originally. I'm a member of WIN. I'm actually the co-chair on the engagement committee. Apologies for the background noise. I'm here at my local coffee shop. The company that I'm representing today is my own, Cane Sugar Sales and Marketing. Cane Sugar being a play on where I'm from and the main source of revenue for a Caribbean island at the time. The space I work in is consulting brand management for CPG brands. I have 15 years of experience within the space in sales and marketing capacity. I used to work for Nestle, leading up the Garden of Life brand, if you're familiar with that space.
Oh yeah,
and my goal is to take emerging brands, whether from outside of the United States or within, and scale them in retail across natural channel, mass drug, and FDM. So looking to work with anybody who is looking to get their products in front of buyers for review. That's my angle. Give me a call, send me a text. Love it. Thanks, everyone.
Exciting. Thank you, Natasha. Great to meet you here. Thank you. Allie, you want to go? I see you
Yes.
bouncing around. Thank
Sure.
you.
Yeah. So my name's Allie Chandler. I was head of content at Cellcore Biosciences and then head of marketing and events at Microbiome Labs. If you know Megaspore Biotic, I did the whole rebrand for them and had done like all their trade shows and marketing. And now I have my own brand, which is Upsell Health. So I help practitioners and wellness brands grow and scale their practices online. And what I'm working on is a way to solve the problem of practitioners finding the right patients and patients knowing who to work with in the functional medicine space. So I have a whole story of I was really sick for 10 years and bedbound when I was like 26. And so that's how I got into functional medicine. So I'm thinking through how to solve problems that I went through when I was sick, now that I'm better and now that I have sort of like the marketing background and my agency.
Great to see you, Allie. Thanks for joining us today on kind of a short notice. So thank you very much. And Melissa, please introduce yourself.
Hi everyone, I'm Melissa Conklin. I'm based out of New Jersey. If my video goes out, I apologize. The connection's always bad on the colder days. My background is I work as a flavor chemist, so my background's in biochemistry. I enjoy all things flavor. This year I've had some issues with some urinary tract health, so I'm on a journey of actually launching a product that focuses on a beverage for women in that space that actually caters to the beverage needs of females. And as a grander scheme of a company, I would really like to create an environment that provides resources to educate women about female-specific health issues, especially reproductive health.
Fantastic, Melissa. And I'm a Jersey guy myself. So nice to see you there, although I'm not I'm calling from frigid Virginia as opposed to frigid New Jersey right now.
Yeah.
But well, thanks everyone for joining. And so if you don't know me, my name is Doug Lynch, and I've been in the nutrition space. I've been in the supplement functional food zone for 3 decades now. I've led some of the larger B2B ingredient companies that are in this space in terms of commercialization. And then 11 years ago, I got the itch to scratch about being an entrepreneur in this space as well. And so I started my own agency first. And that was basically a consultancy to guide companies that were overseas into the US market, whether they were a B2B ingredient player or whether they had a brand, and actually create the runway for them to launch. That's where it started. It's really morphed into other things since then. But what I generally do now is I partner with universities that have really amazing technology, ingredients, patents, but no commercial capabilities whatsoever to scale them. So I basically try to bring products to market with the universities being co-owners of the companies that I start. So very, very pleased to meet everyone here. Excited to get the program kicked off. I want to say very quickly some thank yous. Gina Benninger and Amanda Jeffson both have kind of worked very closely with me to get us go up and running. I started on the WIN mentorship committee, and my friends are still there. And they took the Together platform and graciously let us use that platform. So I want to thank the people at the mentorship committee. We're going to have our own little spin on it. It's going to be, instead of mentors and mentees, we're talking about coaches and entrepreneurs in this setup. But if you've been on the system before, you'll find it very familiar. There were credentials that were extended to everybody here, and my hope is that if look in your spam file if you haven't seen these credentials to log in and take the registration time. You want to set that up and play around with it as we move from module to module. Also want to thank the Entrepreneurship Committee that's doing a lot of things behind the scenes, which you'll start to see as we progress. Definitely, one thing I would say is that this is a very new program here, very new software. Please allow us to have our growing pains. We will get the module set up so that basically the expectation is that we're going to have another module that's going to be released in 2 weeks' time. And then we're going to have several others that are going to start in rapid progression. There's going to be 8 in total for this first phase of the program. But there will be opportunities and models that will continue. So with your okay, I'll start the presentation now. And again, thank you very much for being here. And please, if you have any questions afterwards, there is a place for some live Q&A as well. Are you seeing my screen, everybody?
Yes.
Thank you. All right. Excellent. So, welcome. I want to first start with perhaps the most challenging thing when I was point blank asked, what do we call this program? And, what does the name signify? And as Shakespeare said, if we called it something else, would it still smell as sweet? The program itself is called Pitch Perfect Entrepreneurship 101. Why Pitch Perfect? Well, everybody in this class is going to be welcome to pitch. Some will be and some will be based on the entries we had at the WIN Leadership Summit. But ultimately, everybody that's on this that's in this course will be able to pitch the class itself, culminating right around that same time. But I also wanted to say that's not all we're doing here. We are absolutely going to be helping you with gathering the necessary tools to really be entrepreneur leaders in your field. We're starting with these 8 modules. You'll start to see them load after each presentation or just immediately before. And we're not stopping with that. There will be ongoing instruction based on the feedback of the program and things that you believe that we need to do to help shore you up as a team. Ultimately, we are trying to have women started and women-led businesses have access to capital. That's what we're set up at WIN to do. And we are so appreciative of WIN for giving us this platform to help all of you reach out, get that capital, which will ultimately make your dreams a reality. There will be tools that will come about. Definitely, the first thing that we're going to be offering to you is in the name itself. We're going to help you with the pitch deck of your company that'll summarize what you're trying to do and best in practices when you're in front of investors and doing the pitch. The other thing that you'll find when you go into your to the Together platform is a business model canvas, which will go into a good deal here. But the BMC is going to be your second best friend besides your computer as you start to grow your business. We're also going to help in terms of really helping you find your best product market fit. And from that perspective, the problem that you're trying to solve, the trends that are at, the winds that are at your back, and ultimately your solution. We want to help you try to come to the best definition for what that product market fit. And certainly the BMC is going to be your one of your principal ways to do that. There will be worksheets that will guide you on your journey. And we will upload those as we go along. There is going to be one already that's going to be helpful for determining your customer segments on the business model canvas, and ultimately and the customer relationships that are going to help you find your ideal product market fit. We're going to give you business advice. We're going to help you to find the right group of people to help you build the business plan, because the BMC is a one-pager. The business plan can be 50 pages. So we want to make sure that we're giving you the right guidance and direction to help you build your business plan. And yeah, there's going to be ongoing feedback, not just from the people like myself and the other coaches, but the people that are in your program itself. So when we have these live events, try to be present, because you can get some feedback on your questions. And certainly when we do the overall pitch, that's going to be very helpful to get feedback on. All of us are experts in the nutrition field, which is why it's going to be really exciting with our spin on it. Because I've sat through some of these things where it's not the nutrition people, and you always have to adjust it. And last but not least, we're going to give you networking opportunities, both online opportunities, but in person as well, at some of these major events where we're all usually attending, such as the supply sides. So what are some of those tools? Well, first of all, each of you are going to be a major benefit. And definitely the coaches themselves, starting with myself and Paylene Thorogood, the executive chairs of the committee. We're here for you. There will be guest presenters that come along. The committee itself, which is a larger group of people, that if you can't reach us, you'll get the people that are in the committee that you can reach afterwards if we're not serving your needs. The Together platform is going to be super critical as you take your journey. These worksheets that we will load up in the content for each module, we ask that you work on them, that you complete them before the next module is released. That way you can get feedback when we all get together to discuss the next module. There's other things too that I would really recommend. There is a book. It's about $15 on Amazon. I found it extremely helpful when I started my entrepreneurship journey. And it's called The Step-by-Step Guide for Building a Great Company, Steve Blank and Bob Dorff. Steve Blank has done a lot of YouTube videos as well that you can find out there. And if you're in the National Institute of Health, or the National Science Foundation rather, ICOR program, it's really tailored around Steve's program. I've been both an entrepreneur lead in that program as well as an industry mentor. So I've read the materials quite a bit, and I find it very helpful. There's another helpful book called The Value Proposition Design. That's actually by the inventors of the business model canvas. So try to find that one if you are interested. There are a number of Canvas tools that are online, which I really do support. It usually requires a subscription, but it allows you to test your hypothesis as you go along, and not have to continue to scan documents. So inevitably, if you can get a business model canvas online, you're saving yourself a lot of hassle. And yeah, if you have any questions on the business model canvas in each segment, it can be confusing because some of these building blocks overlap, as you'll see. There's countless videos that you can access, even Harvard Business School, that are doing these things for free, and you can learn more about them. So this course is going to talk a lot about the business model canvas and how that will ultimately go into your business plan. So switching gears to the actual content today, I wanted to introduce the business model canvas to nutraceutical entrepreneurs. I can't see for a show of hands how many of you have done this, the BMC, but if you have not, now's a great time to learn about it and to start to fill in the blocks. But before we talk about that, I want to say the road to a great product and great idea is littered with, unfortunately, great products and great ideas that never caught on. So we love our ideas. We're passionate about our companies, but it's super important to realize that ideas are insufficient in and of themselves. We have to make sure that our product offering is very, very differentiated from those that have come before. We want to make sure we understand who is actually buying our product. To put it directly, if you're a B2B orientation or a B2C, understanding the differences in that communication and who your ultimate buyer is. In the end, those terms have really merged. I don't even like them as much as I used to, because when you're talking to a B2B sale, ultimately you're talking to a buyer, you're talking to a consumer, and the things that motivate them are often much the same when you and I go to the stores. The other thing is we love our product. We feel very, very comfortable about what's in our product, but unfortunately, if you put active ingredients together, we know it works. That's great. But if there's no ultimate differentiation and IP, this is an area that I would love to help each of the entrepreneurs here to make sure that the IP is strong enough so that you don't educate the market on how to compete against you. The other thing is these things have to cost at a point where people are willing to buy. I've been in sales and marketing and in ingredient sales, for example, discovered by the R&D department, lobbed over the fence. Doug, you go sell it. And then this is not an exaggeration. One ingredient I had to sell to Estee Lauder was $14,250 a kilogram. Nobody in R&D had bothered to really calculate that number, which made selling it a little more challenging. Fortunately, I was persistent and I got it sold in. The other thing that you should also know is that the regulatory aspects of what we do, the FDA, the FTC, we can't just say everything about our product. So we have to be super careful. I cringe when people say we're an unregulated industry. We are very regulated. We are the most regulated food ingredients, for example, that are in the business, not the least regulated drugs. So it's a sensitive subject for me. We are regulated. We have to be careful in what we say and how we say it. Now, the flip side to this is that if you have a clear target, you're differentiated, you have a margin that is sustainable, and a product that's affordable, you consider that somebody has to not just do one transaction, but multiple transactions for you to pay off that customer cost of acquisition. And if you are compliant in what you say, these are where businesses in the nutraceutical space become viable. So the business model canvas. This was developed by Alexander Osterwalder, and he's a Swiss entrepreneur, and he had an academic advisor, Yves Pignor, and he basically did this as his PhD research and popularized this concept. It provides a visual template, a reference that you can design, describe, most importantly, challenge your preconceived notions and your business models themselves, showing how they're interlocked with 9 building blocks. You're going to see that this will ultimately flow into your business plan, but it starts with a really clean piece of paper. Ultimately, you want clarity before complexity, and it allows you to really define who is your customer segment, who are you serving, what problem are you trying to solve for them, how you're going to reach them, what other things you're going to need to operate, such as your key activities and partnerships, and of course, how you make money. And if you're not for profit, you still have to raise money. So all this applies for not-for-profits as well as for-profit business. And just a little bit of an overview in terms of how this canvas versus your traditional business planning works. Yeah, the format, this is a one-page visual. It's very dynamic, okay? I can tell you when I created business plans for my startups, I dreaded having to go back in because you really have a very static document that is very many pages. And if you start to change one, you change all. So the nice part about the Canvas is it's meant to be an experiment. It's meant to be a series of hypotheses that you question. And also it allows you to test very, very quickly. It allows you to evolve that document. Very, very rarely do you do that with a traditional business plan. And then it's best for us entrepreneurs that are navigating uncertainty in our model, uncertainty in the market, and how we're going to be received. So ultimately, the key is we don't need certainty. We need fast feedback. It's really critical to go outside of your comfort zone and to shop this around to as many people as possible. In the NSFI core program, we have to actually conduct 100 interviews in about 4 weeks' time. It's crazy. Each interview is 30 minutes. You can imagine how that is, but it's only after you get outside of your own building that you actually learn that your model has a chance. So every Canvas starts as a question, a hypothesis, a something that you want to actually prove yourself wrong. And your first Canvas will very much likely be very wrong. And that's okay. It's actually expected. It's not a prediction. It's not your final plan. It's just a structured way to go about getting you to that point. And you think you know who your customer is and what they value and how they'll buy. But until there's actually a purchase made, you're just a hypothesis. And this reality check will come from the customers themselves, and the canvases will involve with that learning. And so these are the 9 building blocks, and we're going to really focus on the upper right-hand quadrant as we get started with this journey. But over the next few modules, we'll take you through each and every one of them. They are very much interrelated. So it can get sometimes the confusion of that terminology. But the key is if you can't get this model on one page, the likelihood your idea is not yet ready to take in front of an investor, to be sure. So clarity beats complexity. This will help you build your plan. It is just a tool. It will help you prioritize, and it's your mission starting after this, if you have not yet done so, to start filling in these types of blocks. And there is a worksheet in the content section. Why we use it? It makes things clear. It aligns your partners and teams, some of the people that are not in your organization that you really need to think of at the very, very earliest stage. Do you want a big brother to help you in, or are you afraid of the big brother that might be welcoming you in just to learn about you and to shut you down? It will help you make some decisions. And before you buy a whole lot of inventory and stocking into a warehouse somewhere, it can help you make some of those expensive mistakes. And we also know no matter what it costs to make the infrastructure, it's the advertising that can be extremely expensive. It's the communication that real money is spent. So you want to be sure before you start that process that you know that you are prepared for the growth. So I mentioned that we would start in these 4 categories. The first 4, the value proposition is really keen for you to identify out of the gate. And ultimately, they are interrelated to the customer segments because you're trying to show to that customer that you have value. So you want to make sure that you can address the problems that your customers are having, and you need to make sure that you are meeting those needs. The other thing that you need to start to ask, what is very specific, what is unique about that product that or service that you're bringing, and what are your features of those products that are going to meet those needs? The customer segments are ultimately who we're trying to sell to. The channels are how we're going to go about getting to them, and the relationships are going to be about how not only do we get them, how we keep them, and how we grow them over time. So when you talk about your customer segments, you want to actually know who uses it daily, who makes the purchasing decision, who influences these decisions, are they condition driven, and where do they currently seek their solutions? Ultimately, a lot of this we call personas. Some segments in our nutritional area, if you're actually a finished product, a very good one, very pointed, is a woman over 45 concerned about memory, mental clarity. If you're an athlete and you're worried about performance each and every day, or you're trying to have a longevity customer that's really focused on blood glucose, these are strong segments of end users that allow you to bring your solution to bear. An example customer segments, not just for the B2C that I mentioned, but B2B. For example, if you're selling to brands, wholesale brands themselves, or one of the tricks that I like to do is to bring my idea, my ingredient to contract manufacturers first. I'll talk a little bit about that and kind of harness their sales force, because when you're a startup, having people is a very expensive prospect, and you want to make sure that you get a very quick response. So working with contract manufacturers in this space, I find a year one out of the gate as a target is somebody I like to use for that purpose. And then if you're a business to consumer, understanding the demographics of who you're selling to, it could be age, it could be gender. I like subscription friendly, because ultimately some people like to give credit cards on online sales. Some people are terrified of the prospect even today, and they don't like turning that over. But subscriptions to me make profitability much faster. But you also want to understand what moves and motivates your ultimate consumer. What are their thoughts? What are their behaviors? What are their values? And are you speaking to those? Also, you want to know about where they're located, the social networks. Are you trying to build a social network for them so that they can rely on that? These are very, very key questions to ask, and knowing who your customer, what they do in their spare time, is almost as important as what they do in their professional role. So I mentioned that these are personas, and one of the areas that I have done in when I map out for the nutrition industry, the segment could be a major dietary supplement or a food brand. Their unmet need, I would fill it out that they need to grow their sales. The job they need to do, look, if they're a brand, they need to differentiate from their competitors. So speaking their language is super important. And then also their current approach is evaluating technologies and solutions. And then I find that there's two really key decision makers in this process, from a VP of R&D and quality to a VP of marketing or sales. They all want different things. And if you have a way to motivate each of those areas, you're going to have a better success when you're approaching those folks in the brands. And then, there's a purchaser. They want to make sure that they get the price per dose. They want to make sure that you have the product and in country and can turn it around fast. They like predictability. They like most favored nation pricing. So when I go through this and I give you this presentation, I won't go through all of this, but each of these points of the decision makers, when you are talking to them, is super important to have. Common mistakes. When you start to fill out these types of business model canvases, the first reflex is you tend to put 4 or 5 different customers down. Well, that's very expensive to reach all of them. So the more focused you can be, targeting 1 or 2 maximum segments is super helpful when you get out of the gate and get started. Also, it's very, very important that you ignore the buyer versus the end user for this product. Sometimes they're not the same people. And if you scale too early, it could be very costly. Very quickly, I'll talk about channels. Channels is how you reach the end user. Ultimately, there are avenues. If you've got a customer that likes to shop online, Amazon is still a mighty beast for reaching them on the supplement side. But you can have direct-to-consumer websites. You can focus on practitioners. So how do you get your product or solution into their hands? And ultimately, how do you keep and grow your customers? And filling out worksheets, which we will start to populate, can give you a sense. Do you use conventions? Do you do LinkedIn? Do you use key opinion leaders? Do you pay for media? Understanding what it costs for all of those, understanding what it costs to get that customer acquisition ultimately is going to be your key to profitability in a short amount of time. And then this is a horrible design, and I'm sorry, this is my fault, but ultimately this is what I've used in the past to say, if I'm trying to use a contract manufacturer to get my ingredient or service out, I use the red lines will show you what are my direct sales coming from my company, my product. And then ultimately, if I'm trying to get to the mass retailers or specialty retailers or the vitamin shops in the world, yes, I can go directly to them, very expensive, and or I can go harness a contract manufacturer that already has a sales force. I could use a distributor to get to the brands that sell to those retailers. And I can also go direct to practitioners, multi-level marketing companies. All of this feeds indirectly to the North American consumer. And so mapping out your journey from how your product gets ultimately to the end user is extremely helpful. And I mentioned I use contract manufacturers a lot. What I like to do, a little secret sauce, I find the contract manufacturers that have a special capability in our space that you just can't do. Many companies, there are hundreds that can do capsules and powders. But when it talks about nutrition bars, gummies, soft gels, and individual sachets, these are pretty unique. And so I like to go to them, introduce them to my capabilities, show them how they can actually have a better results with getting customers of their own. And I rely on their sales force to ultimately get to the brands and the consumers. I do map out what ultimately the contract manufacturer wants. And I also map out who in the brand wants these things too, so that I'm helping the contract manufacturer find the right brand. And more importantly, the brand find them. And so many times if I have an ingredient, people say, well, where can I get that made? Well, it's my responsibility to make sure that that handoff takes place. And then I map out how you can get, keep, and grow your customers. Everything from published studies to email marketing campaigns, keeping them, continuing to do future clinical trials, multi-year licenses, and growing, bringing new ingredients, new solutions to your existing customers. It's much easier to sell a customer twice than it is to get a new one. And then ultimately, if my other target is a contract manufacturer, all the things above applied, but there are other things that I like to bring to them. And again, I won't read it, but it'll be in the deck when you see it. So too many channels can be a problem. Basing channels on trends go quick in this industry. So be very, very careful when you read the NBJ every year and see what the trend is now. It might not be there next year. So be careful that you don't fall for that too easily. And then obviously, if you ignore the channel specific margins, look, some margins like a multi-level marketing company require a ginormous margin in order to operate. Understanding how each of those channels, practitioners, drugstores, Costco's in the world is key to success. And then customer relationships, building that trust and loyalty through education, subscriptions, customer support, and community social proof. They're all interrelated though. So once you know the customer segment, you can test a value prop, you can test the channel, you can build those customer relationships and see how each of them play into each other. Final takeaways, nutraceuticals, it's a trust business. People are not just buying ingredients, they're buying confidence that you are bringing something to them that is safe and effective. This canvas that you can start to fill out will reduce the potential for costly mistakes. And start narrow, very, very few segments, validate that your model is working, and then grow intentionally. Now I'd like to quickly change gears, and I'll let you to hear from an entrepreneur that I've worked with. Sloan Kurick is her name. She works with me on several companies that I start to actually develop the perfect pitch. And she has a really great model for that. It's not just about the pitch, but it's integrated into your business plan as well. So I'm going to give Sloan a chance to kind of talk a few things. And if you would like to meet her at some point, we would love to do that too. Tell me if you can hear this when it starts. Okay, guys?
Hi, everybody. I'm so glad to be here and excited that Doug had me join you guys to help guide you in creating a great pitch deck for your business. I wanted to just say hi on screen before I stop my video to pull up the deck that we'll be walking through. So here we go. Hopefully everybody sees that okay. So I'm basically here to help you create a pitch deck that will drive funding, partnerships, and growth in conjunction with Win and MarketWell Nutrition. And just to give you a little background about me, I'm a co-founder of PitchLift, and we've been around for about 7 years, me and my co-founder, Daniel, and we have created over 500 decks, mostly pitch decks, but also some sales decks as well, and have raised over 1.2 billion with our decks through our clients, of course, with about an 84% raised success rate. My background is in finance and business consulting, and shifted into business plans about 20 years ago, and have been doing the pitch decks, everything phased into that over the last 10 years. So that is our focus, and we're always here. There's my contact info if you ever need to reach out for help or just ping me with a question. That is totally fine. Okay, so getting into what you guys will be building. So I'll be walking through slides for an Acme company, so basically a fake company, and trying to kind of guide you in what to include. And just to give a little background too on your pitch deck, I think one of the biggest misconceptions that founders have is that the pitch deck is just a fundraising tool, but it really isn't. And I might be a little biased, but I do think it's one of the most reusable assets you can create. It'll help shape your investor conversations and your partner discussions, and it can add a lot of internal clarity, which is really our most exciting breakthroughs that we get with clients, is just really getting all of your thoughts clearly down in the way that your vision and your business, how you're going to build it. Once you're able to kind of create that within the pitch deck, it just helps clarify what you lead with in conversations and such. Okay, so on this cover, you want to basically have somebody take away one simple thing that is the driver of your business. And this is going to be investor focused. So it's not necessarily a tagline that you have for your consumer facing materials, but more of what the investor is going to want to see. So summarizing what you do, how you're disrupting your space. Just a quick sentence. We want clarity, clarity, clarity. And then we always add investor overview and the quarter that you're in when you're creating it, plus your contact info. So we lead with contact info and close the deck with contact info. The next slide is optional. It kind of depends on the stage of your company and how much you want to share in kind of a bragging summary type of way. And in most of these slides, there will be some core slides in the deck that you will always want to have. And then there'll be some that you can move in and out based on how much they apply to your business, or really how much you have to say around them. But on this slide, you want to just say kind of what you're doing, what your maybe vision is, and put really key metrics that are your bragging points, your areas that show that an investor should trust you. You know what you're doing. You have proven traction or proven success, maybe client logos as well. Could be a client quote, but this is kind of just an upfront summary page. And then we get into the problem. So usually in our decks, we either are going problem or opportunity, or problem followed by opportunity. So this one, we're going to show you problem followed by opportunity. And the problem slide is not just about listing pain points, it's about proving urgency too. So the best problems are going to be specific, expensive, unresolved. And you want to just clearly lay out that pain point. If it doesn't hurt, your solution won't sell, right? And then the next slide is going to be your opportunity, which is kind of a follow-on. So you're going to say, with those pain points in mind, here are the trends and the market shifts in consumer behavior or regulations that make this time the perfect time to do it, or really give you an extra boost to your go-to-market, kind of amps up your opportunity. So those two, hopefully we've positioned very clearly to the investor what problem you're going to be solving and why this is a great opportunity and why the timing is great. And then we lead in with your solution. So your solution slide should be explainable in one breath. So we push founders to complete the sentence very clearly. We're doing X, solving problem, for Y by doing Z. So this is going to really kind of show your secret sauce. It shows that it's really important. It doesn't need to be complicated, but it does need to be defensible. So hopefully, an investor can walk away even just from this single statement, knowing very clearly what you're doing. We also, if we're showing, sometimes we're just giving a solution statement and then going into details on the next slides. But if we do show a visual, we typically are trying to make it be pretty cohesive. So not like we've got these 5 different pieces that are in, 5 different boxes and not showing that connection. So this is an example layout of where we're showing, okay, you've got these two-sided solution, and your company is kind of pulling them together and offering them to the market. The next 2 slides, platform, product, service, we've got 2 different layouts. So we've got an option 1 and an option 2. And this is where you're going to really show and model out the way that your product is good and different. We don't want to just list features. So we do say the word features. However, the way that you're going to explain your features is you're wanting to really pull up your differentiators. You don't want to have a list of features that every other similar business is going to list. So you want to be able to show some of those key differentiators from your competition. So those are pretty straightforward. A lot of times we're just doing kind of a single visual and explaining those overall features and differentiators. Or if you've got like 3 distinct products and want to talk about them separately, you could do it with some kind of layout like this. Okay, the benefits slide. So I put this as optional. It would be a follow-on to that kind of product description slide, just saying, hey, here is, once our product is used, once we've got our consumers in, here's what it brings to the table to those consumers. And you want these usually grounded in stats if you can, defensible, and pretty concise. I mean, we have 5 listed here. I would not go beyond that. I think 3 is fine too. I think just don't force it. Just show what's really your standout. Okay, so market. People get hung up a bit on market. And it isn't just about impressing investors with big numbers. It is also about credibility, building credibility with the investor, that you know your market, you know where you're playing. So you don't have to go for the biggest TAM that starts to reach beyond the real market that you're playing in. You do want to show that it's large, ideally, and that you have a clear path to owning a meaningful piece of it. But really making sure that it's defensible, that you do play in this space, that you've got good sources also. We always link sources at the bottom so that investors can click to it and see the details behind your stats that you're sharing. Over on the left, we often will put ancillary markets or other trends that support what you're doing in your market approach. So we have dollar signs on the XX, but a lot of times those are maybe growth metrics or even like consumer surveys where people are starting to care more about whatever it is that you're doing. So you can include that kind of detail on here as well. Again, don't force it, but if it really gives some strength, then go ahead and add that in. Okay, so our revenue model. This is pretty straightforward for products where you've got a physical product. We usually are including a unit economics as you see over on the right to give some indication of margin and what your sourcing looks like as well. But on the left, where we're kind of breaking down the actual revenues, one thing that we do try to do is to visually give weight to what your main source of revenue is. So if you've got 6 sources of revenue and 1 or 2 of them are bringing in the majority of your revenue, let's really highlight that 1 or 2, and then the other 4 could be consolidated in a box below, like sometimes like where it says secondary revenue, we'll even say including streams such as X, Y, and Z. Or you can give a little bit more detail if you think that there's a lot of growth potential in those. Okay. Moving on to our go-to-market. So we laid out that market above, and how are you going to attack the market and grab your share? So this doesn't need to be perfect. Nobody usually knows what they're really going to be doing in phase 3, but what does need to happen is it needs to be thoughtful and phased out with as much grounding in the beginning with realistic goals that you can provide. So I think in that phase 1, usually we're trying to say something like X number of partnerships, and then maybe give examples of who you're talking to, lock in certain, maybe it's social media campaigns or different partners that you're going to use for that. Like, give some more grounded description there so that they know that you really do have a detailed plan that you're going to be mapping to. And then in those later stages, it's okay if you say generally what you're planning to give them a sense. Phase 2 ideally has a little bit more detail as well, but yeah, you do want to make sure that they're able to get inside your head and know the type of approach that you're using for your go-to-market. Okay, competition. So the competition slide, we've laid out 2 options here. One is more of a competitive landscape, and one is more of the standard checklist. So it depends on how much you really want. If your real differentiators are kind of very specific feature sets and capabilities, this is a good approach. If you want to speak about it a little bit more generally on where you sit in the market, then we lean on this type of approach. And your goal is not to necessarily say that everybody else is bad in what they do, but showing how you're different and how you think that you're going to excel. And we don't come across this that often, but sometimes we do. We don't have any competition. So make sure you don't go that route. Always include competition. And even if you feel like what you're doing is so novel and out of the box, you still want to show, and maybe that's when you do this approach, that you're novel in what you're doing, but that you're going to play in the same space as these other players. Okay, so the moat, we put that as optional. We are seeing this more and more. We work with a lot of VCs where we help with their portfolio companies. And a lot of the VCs have been putting this in their lineup of slides that they want to add in. So it's really about defining your defensibility. So whether it's patents or a head start with approvals or major contracts you've got in place, relationships, expertise, IP, whatever it is, maybe it's speed to market. But if you have a clear moat, and it's something that you want to be able to talk about, by all means, add it in. And that's kind of true throughout the deck. It's like in any time you have a differentiator or strength, and it's something that you want to be able to talk about, you should find a way to incorporate all of that into your slides. Okay, we've got a couple more here. This one is traction, and we change the placement of this slide quite a bit. Sometimes it will come up a little sooner in the deck. But basically this is what have we achieved thus far? And you don't have to be a Series A or Series B to show this. If you have any kind of beta testing or any accomplishments or client quotes, just kind of proof of your execution ability. We've even had people when they're creating a new product, but they've got past success, sometimes that will be pulled in as well, and very clearly referenced that this was previous success that you're expecting this to mirror. But this slide is always good to have, unless you're really pre-seed and it's really, really early. Okay, team. This is very standard to include, and it can be one person, that's fine. If it's a super small team and it's one main lead and the other players are really not what's going to bring the funding and bring the trust of the investors, then it's fine to lead with just one person. But ideally, we're showing a couple of executive team members and or a collection of advisors that have your back and will look good to investors if they know you're being guided by people with great experience. We've got a lot of TBD bullets in there. Ideally, and this is true throughout the deck, that we show that as visually as we can. So logos are great, either logos within the name boxes for each person, or sometimes we'll just do, especially if a lot of the founders or the people on the team slide have worked in overlapped in the same company. Sometimes we'll just do a bar at the bottom that shows a collection of all of the logos, which can be a nice approach. Okay, roadmap we put as optional. This you want to show your discipline and your very grounded plans and goals, and how this will help give some credibility to you when you're doing the ask of funds, use of funds that's coming up soon. So if they get you the money and you're starting to develop, like, what does that look like? What does the timeline look like? We have phase 1, 2, and 3, but ideally you're putting actual dates in there. It gives a little bit more faith to the investor that you're sticking down to a timeline, even if it's month 1, month 6, things like that. It doesn't have to be 2026 in the month of 2026. Okay, and then sometimes we will divide these if you have a lot of different areas that you're consistently doing your milestones in, like product development and marketing or your partnerships or something like that, we will divide them into different boxes so that you've got like a row of your product development box and a row of your partnerships box, just to help add a little bit of clarity there as well. Okay, financial projections. People get nervous about this when they're early stage and they may not have like a very detailed model built out, but it is good to include regardless, even if it's a bit more back of the envelope and just showing your revenue projections over 2 or 3 years and the units associated with it. But typically we're liking to show about 5 years. 3 to 5 years is our rule of thumb. And we're usually showing revenue, and then where it shows those TBD lines, we might be showing EBITDA or cash flow if you're going to be cash flow positive somewhere in those 5 years, or margins, or your number of customers. It's again just anything that is worthy to be spoken about that you'd like to talk about when you're on this side, go ahead and include that, and then you've got a place to talk about it. Same with those metrics over on the right. Okay, and then the raise. So we can view the raise in two different ways. So always good to put the amount that you're raising. And then you can look at it as the actual use of funds. So what percentage is going to engineering or product design, what percentage is going to your marketing, what percentage is going to admin, which ideally that percentage is very, very, very low. So it can be that, or sometimes you can divide it into the percentage of the raise that will be used to fund your goals. So the first goal might be getting a strategic partnership in place, and that's going to take X percent of money. And the other one is to, get 100,000 units sold on the market, and that's going to take X percent of money. So it can be viewed two different ways. Or you can combine both. So sometimes we will just have like the breakdown between engineering and marketing, pretty straightforward. That's the typical approach. But then we might have a little box that says, here's the goals. So, you're spending this money, we're raising this money, we're going to spend it on these three categories, and here's what we're going to achieve with that raise. Okay, the closing slide. So this is usually just a copy of our cover slide or something similar, using that same summary statement, your contact info, and then often we will add these takeaway points, which just kind of revisits the deck on the items that you think really highlight the opportunity and what will resonate with investors as your differentiators, why you'll win. It might be some of the stats from the timing, the why now. It might be your CAC or your market opportunity. It might be that you're going to be first to market, whatever it is. But you can list a few of those. And again, don't push it. If you don't have 5 of them and you have 2 of them, list those. And I think that is it. So we are here if you need us. Really appreciate your time to listen in, and feel free to reach out. You've got my email address, and we're here for any questions. Best of luck to you guys. Thank you.
All right. Well, hopefully that was good content. I can tell you, I've used PitchLift for multiple startups, and the thing that they really do, they have really compelling graphics, really compelling, very nice to look at if you're in a pitch environment, and they integrate the business plan. That's the other point. Sloan didn't really talk a lot about that, but they create for me spreadsheets that I've used a year after their creation. Even as the business model slightly changed from a more of a B2B to a more B2C perspective, they had intrinsically built in where I thought the business could go and allow you to enter, change things based on, unfortunately, when you're raising funds, sometimes it doesn't come as fast as possible. And that's the most frustrating thing to me. If I craft a business plan, doesn't come in, and then now do I have to go back and create a brand new model, a brand new revenue projections. I really like PitchLift because they're able to help me create a flexible model for that regard. Sorry, we got a little bit of a feedback. We got a little bit of feedback on there. So I really do like that group. Of course, there are others. By the way, I have my own recommendations too, that are going to be in the Together platform, because everybody does this a little bit differently. I don't have one pitch deck. If I have an audience that's going to be scientific in nature, or they bring in the science expert to validate you, I have a very different way of talking to those people. than I do on the pure business side. I also will have a pitch deck for somebody who knows our space and somebody who is completely not aware of our space. And so you have to keep in mind that these are tools that are flexible. And next module, we're going to get to how can we take a pitch like that and cram it into 5 minutes, which I find is sometimes the hardest thing I've ever asked to do that elevator pitch, usually on a stage, in order to try to win some award and get some additional notoriety. It's nerve-wracking as heck, but it is it is also, if you can do it, it's pretty energizing. So really, that's all for our module 1. For those who came late, please know that this is recorded. It's going to be there for you to see at your convenience. Next time you'll have a lot more warning that this is coming, the date and the time, I promise. Please set up your profiles on the Together platform. If you have not found an email saying that you can be set up, contact me afterwards. You'll see an email from me, say you can't find it. I will make sure I hunt that down. I ask for your flexibility because we will be populating this module. All the content you see here, we're going to create worksheets. It'll be certainly by module 2. I expect this to be a well-oiled machine. But at this point, I'll stop and I'll ask if there are any questions on anything you've heard today, anything about the direction of where we're going. And I wanted to open it up to all of you who are kind enough to be here today.
My background is a little loud, but I'll just ask a quick question. Thanks,
Sure.
Doug. This was really great, highly informative, lots of content. I think I definitely will need to digest that offline when you post it in the portal. I did not get the email from the Togetherness thing, so I know for sure I didn't see that come through. And then also, I don't have a brand. I have a service, so some of these things don't apply, but I still want to participate because I think there's so much to learn and I want to be a part. But I feel like because I'm not pitching a brand per se, like a go-to-market piece or something like that, that this might not fully apply to me.
Yeah, sure. There will be adaptations you will have to do based on exactly whether you are offering a service and then how people pay for that service. Is it an ongoing subscription? How you make your money? In the end analysis, I find that the business model canvas is very adaptable. So yes, some of the content, we've got people that are going to have service-oriented, B2B, B2C. I'll try within these modules and the coaches that will come after will try to take little bits of pieces around. Unfortunately, it looks a little confusing sometimes because your needs are so specific. But the key is the coaches are here, and the chances are we've had service businesses as well. We've run them too before we've had the widget in order to get the widget in somebody's hands. So, and the key is, as we expand the team here with people that'll be joining the program as it's going along, you'll find more people that you can bounce your ideas off that are even fellow entrepreneurs. We're all in this together. I'm a dedicated win bro. That I coined the term, by the way. There's only a few of us that use the term, but I coined it. I've been with Win from really the start, and really pleased to work with you. Yeah, Kristen, hi. How you doing, Kristen?
Whew, wonderful. Still waking up. I just got my coffee. I am one of the people that roll out of bed at 7 o'clock to start my day because I usually go to bed at about 3 o'clock. So I missed most, if not all
I
of it.
saw when you
So,
came on board. Thank you and welcome.
well, thank you for coordinating. I did meet you last year at Expo.
I remember.
I think I might have seen you in passing at Supply Side and some other things, but yay. I'm so incredibly excited. I have lots of really exciting, wonderful, beautiful things happening. Did at the beginning, which obviously I watch it catch up, did we already go over the actual what's expected for that weekend? Like where we're going, when we're expected to be there to show up, all that kind of stuff. If so, then just say I'll watch it later. If not, can we please go over that?
Well, are you referring to the pitch
Com-
itself?
Yeah.
Okay, so two quick things I'll say about that. Everyone in this program is going to have an opportunity to pitch the entire class and the coaches and hopefully an investor or two. All right, so that will be my commitment to everybody that goes through this presentation, this class, right? It'll be voluntary. You don't have to do it if you don't feel you're ready, but I hope you are by the time we go through eight modules. With regard to the actual pitch event, the ones that were selected for that based on the application process, more information's coming. It will be that Friday. How you get there is kind of unfortunately up to you, but we will have that Friday before the summit. And the top five, I believe the top five performers will be invited to the NCN, which is great because I've gone before the NCN and I've invested my very tight startup supply of money and resources to go there, but they're inviting the team to go. So that's fantastic. We'll also pick a best pitch that will pitch in front of the Win Leadership Group, the entire summit itself. So there's some really win the prize to pitch before the entire leadership summit. Information's coming. There's Rebecca Burns and Amanda White are overseeing the actual pitch event. So there will be information that is forthcoming on that. The only thing that I would just say, yeah, it'll be specific to the groups that are invited there. But once again, this is called Pitch Perfect for a reason. We're all going to try to help our pitching capabilities, whether we were in that group or not. And then if you're part of this, there will be another cohort that'll come soon. So if you've gone through the program, my guess is you'll be ready to compete for those slots the next time we do this. So I hope that answers your question. It is coming. Yeah, Natasha.
Just a quick question, Kristen. I wanted to ask that I don't think I'll be pitching, but is there a dry run opportunity for those who would like to pitch? Like, do we get a rehearsal run or something to get them ready?
Yeah. So what we're going to try to do is the class oriented pitch is going to be before the pitch that's on stage at Leadership Summit. So the idea is you'll get the feedback on that beforehand. The other thing is I hope as we go along here, you'll access and take advantage of people like myself and Paylene and some of the other coaches that come, because you can certainly ask for them to hear your pitch and get the feedback. So this is an ongoing process. Yes, it's module related because we had to have some organization going out of the gate, but this is an ongoing place for us to network so that we all elevate our game. And then ultimately we all report back to Win that this launch cohort was beneficial to you and your businesses and your dreams, and you're getting some real practical help. So you can always count on me. Please link in with me. I think that's one thing I should probably do here. Let's see. Go back here. Yep. Well, went too far. No, I went too far enough. So that's my information if you want to scan it. But again, you probably have an email from me as well. But you can see that my core work that's in which in market well, but also LinkedIn and I tend to go I tend to go to all of the events, all the big ones, and I would love to meet you individually if you have the time. And yeah, Kristen, I remember meeting you very well.
I want the time.
You'll get it.
I have very specific. The other thing I just want to lob out there, make sure you remember, I am a CPA, I am an MBA, and I'm also starting this afternoon teaching at Chapman University, entrepreneurship, accounting, and finance. So to help with that, the last chunk of your business deck, that financial slide, I'm literally teaching the students how to do that. So
that's great.
If it comes up that someone is needed to help guide that session and or sanity check or whatever, I volunteer to help. So just know that that is
Duly
available.
Duly
Um,
noted.
yes,
And yes,
it's what it's the root of what I do is really that. And I have started this business out of passion of my heart. So when I need cash to pay for, living expenses, I go back to my roots and do some bookkeeping and things. But I really want to make sure that everybody is aware that I can and will and honestly hope to help. But because I truly believe what goes around comes around, and you never know when I'm going to need help from you in return. So there we go.
and that's the community we are building here. So thank you, Kristen. I might take you up on your own offer myself. There are strengths I have. I'm keenly aware and acutely aware of my weaknesses. But very much, I want to thank all of you. If you didn't get the invite, look at that. If you didn't get the invite, check your spam folder. That we tried to send it out through Together platform, try to send it out separate. Check on it. But if you want to jot down, if you didn't see it, jot down my phone number, 609-977-8953. I'll give it one more time, 609-977-8953. You can always text me too. We'll get it straightened out. Be patient. We'll get the modules set up in the rooms. I thank you all for your time. I hope it was informative, and I look forward to seeing you the next time around. I'll be overseeing the next discussion too. Okay?
Lovely. Thank
Thank
you. It was
you.
amazing, Doug.
Thank you.
Yes,
Thank you
thank
so
you.
much. Pleasure. Bye now.